How nice.
All right.
That's like a church organ, bro.
Yeah, I just hit one and give it a shot. It was a nice entryway. Natalie saying Danny. Natalie saying Danny. Man, Natalie's trying to uproot.
She's moving.
Moving on up, man. Chick's here to cause chaos. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Got the very rare 2 out of 3 face cams on tonight. So just picture Max over in Dubai waking up to a beautiful sunny Friday morning. He's drinking a nice cup of Folgers and almond milk, mostly almond milk. And he's cracking open his MacBook Pro and he's getting ready to trade. So
brilliant. just calling me out on the almond milk.
Yeah. I mean,
I was on a ginger
it's a little
shot
soft,
too, if that makes it any worse.
all right. So JK, saw you on debate. Yeah. Magic was he was showing out on Debate Crypto. Did a really nice job. That was a really good episode in general. So bunch of good guys.
Not too much showing out, to be honest with you. There's so much more we could show, but the problem is, you got to share the floor, and those guys are good. They're all good people, so you can't say anything bad about anybody on that show. That said, this is where we get to show out, so this is our show, right? This is what we get to do. So, solid bounce up. You've got it up right there. I mean, it really is just a move from the range low to the range point of control at this point. Previous day POC anyway. I believe the weekly comes in there as well. Comes in pretty close to there. Mike can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that I am in this case. I'm going to pull it up on ATS on this one here. Yeah, pretty close, 21,200. So it's just a backfill at this point. It really hasn't done anything. Now, if you start eclipsing, 21,200 and yesterday's high, then yeah, you might look at this as a nice range run to like 23,240, give or take. But you don't want to get ahead of yourself, I suppose. I don't really have a whole lot on that. Well, I guess I can share my screen and we'll talk about like the macro. I did kind of spill the beans on our analysis just a little bit on Debate Crypto, which is okay. Not the end of the world. Trading is not as simple as just being told what could happen. So I'll go ahead and share the screen here. This was the box that we had up last week on Thursday, actually. We turned this up where we said when we take this low, this is technically going to be the target. Really looking for that 19,228 level still. So if we take the lows here and we get a swing failure pattern, that's the trade. Can we come down below the lows, take them, and then move up? Or does it do something like this and just kind of melt down? There are some intermediate supports in between. To be upfront with you guys, it's not like 19,228 is the only level on the chart, but it's an important one. You do have 18,246 here, where price, it can definitely go. When you look back at this old range, I believe I have it actually. One of the first videos in the group is me going over these ranges. You can see it comes in pretty close to range low here. This is the one standard deviation of this range from when it occurred. So I do keep these long-term just to have them. And you can see that this would be a back test of the range highs. If lost, where you look to do, come down to the range low, give or take 18,246.2. What is that, like 17.8? And we have a 17,147 down here. So yeah, somewhere, this whole little zone, it really is a zone. About $1,000 is what I'd be looking for support. If we don't dip below 20K, I would be very, very, very surprised. It just seems like something that you wouldn't leave there at 20,051.50. But maybe we do. Either way, we are due for a bounce. And so a melt through this, though, does equate to quite a drop in my opinion. I don't think that it's just going to stop at 15K or 17K at that point. I do think that you're probably coming down to 13,880 is one of the levels on the chart, and then anything below that, you do have to just kind of start throwing up your levels here. And you can see that 10,773 is a big level, and then there's another pretty good sized one at 10,760. So it's a quarterly level in this case. Also, your overall 1-to-1. So that would be the ultra bearish case. I just don't think that's what we're in for. But at the same time, I'm sat happy in a short from higher, so it's easy for me to kind of say that and do that kind of analysis. If you're day trading, the trade is either off the value area low that we just had. You really have to be taking profits at the previous day point of control, in my opinion. I do think that, we didn't even get to the pivot. It doesn't have to get tapped, but if you start coming back here and you start losing these levels, especially where we put in these PVAs, I would expect to take the lows. I'm only interested in taking this trade. I will be very patient. If we don't get it, I'm just not going to be looking to buy here unless something is really overwhelmingly telling me to, whether it's divergence or whatever it may be. Otherwise, happy to remain patient and just not in a day trading position. I don't really have much else. Max, I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to talk about, or Paul, but I just spent like the last hour talking anyway, so.
Well done, sir. Would you like to go on, Max? Or?
Go on. I'll go on. I don't have a mad amount to talk about. We did that 3-hour stream yesterday, so I'm not going to go over what we went over then. All I'm going to do, let me get my screen up. So these are the levels that I'm looking for, right now for possibly. Obviously, we're already getting a rejection initially off this one here, which is the previous day point of control, gold pocket if you're pulling it from here. You could get another rejection, arguably, so you could do it like this, something like this. If we did this, clone that. You could get something like that, where you have a rejection here, maybe put in a high low, come back up, get a rejection from the pivot, which is also the 0.382, just a bit above it. Sometimes I like to put them in little boxes, like the gold pocket here. You've got the 0.382 and the 0.35 there. Lines up nicely with the pivot. Could definitely offer another rejection, similar to the one we've had here from the previous day point of control. Yeah, in the immediate, though, the levels that you don't want to lose right now, it's the daily open. You've got PVA candles down to just above it, like $50 above it. So that's really... $50 or is it $100? It's $100 above it, actually. So you've got PVA candle $100 above it. Now we know how much they like to be filled, and arguably it has been 50% filled, but the statistics are for the 100% fill. So chances are we don't go too much higher before we come and fill that. And if we don't hold the daily open, that's when I think we come to the lows where Magic has just gone on about, do we swing failure pattern it, or do we go down further? But resistance above this one here, that one there, and then you've got this area here, which is like the Chinese pivot. You've got the previous day equilibrium here, the gold pocket somewhat alongside with that daily, and then we've got my favorite moving average up here as well. So it's all in a similar area here for another area of resistance for short, if it comes up and gets in this region. Looking at the TPO and all that stuff, let me just get it over.
I didn't even check to see if there were single prints.
No, I'm going to have a look quickly.
I can have a browse.
So there is one up here. It was one we did talk about yesterday in the current stream. Oh, and there's one right now. So that one goes down to, it's only a small one, but goes down to 25.87. So where are we? 25.87. So it just goes down pretty much. Where is it? It goes to this high here. But if we go to there, why would we not come and just stop, close that full PVA out? anyway, we have to see when it comes. But yeah, small single print left there. That's what one could see here. We also have a small one up here. This is a bit of a resistance here, but if you start to get above this area, there's not much volume to take you much higher. Have a look at where that gold pocket is positioned. 21,900, give or take. 21,900. Yeah, so you've got, if you get up to that gold pocket and can break through it, you have got a low volume node up to 22,200. Well, yeah, it's a low volume area, really. So if you can start to break above that golden pocket, it's not a bad little area to start to reclaim. But yeah, that is the initial resistance there. Looking at the order flow on this current move, it started off piss poor, to be fair, with the open interest decreasing as you move higher, which we know is shorts closing out. Longs did come in, and they're actually now underwater, which isn't ideal, but let's see if they can hold it. Is that where the VWAP definitely is? Let me just give this a refresh. Yeah, right now I'd say it really wants to hold the VWAP, because that's also where the single print comes in at. So hold the VWAP, doesn't hold the VWAP, next one is the daily open, not a bad little, that's a 1% move actually in the current position. But yeah, if you don't hold the VWAP, then again, we already discussed the day open, but yeah, hold the VWAP, claim the previously point of control. Next target is the pivot, claim the pivot. Next target, you have to go over here, claim the pivot, Chinese pivot on, you believe it's already been tapped. I don't really trade pivots when they might have been tapped already. I like the initial tap. Then you've got the equilibrium and the gold pocket. And that's really it in the immediate, to be fair. Otherwise, I'll just be going over myself time and time again. But yeah, hold the VWAP for higher.
True beauty.
Bueno.
Bueno.
Man, I was talking to T-Bone earlier because I haven't put up the app, I guess, to where you can access all the altcoins that are available on Exo now. And it is quite a few, like pretty much all of them. Didn't realize that was the case. All right. Take a look at some altcoins. Kind of have a brisk and brief update for everybody here, right? So we have put a lot into the trading group recently. I know that, we did a members-only market update last night, which was pretty good. Obviously, one on Sunday as well. Max and Magic ended up doing a live trading session this morning for the New York session, which went over pretty well also. And so just kind of taking a look at some altcoins, not necessarily on a day trade perspective, just kind of like, a little bit of an overlook. BNB, I know I put up ETH, Solana, Cardano, and Waves on the title, but BNB was one that kind of just stuck out a little bit, as I know they got some news coming their way, or already in the middle of it, however that's going to look. BNB has been one of this entire rally, right? Like when you look back to, pull it off this page here, Max's. When you think of like some of the coins that really exploded this, last bull run, recent run up, whatever you want to look at it like, you had like VeChain, you had Solana, you had, some of these like 50, 100x gainers. Cardano actually was one of them, BNB. And a lot of the other big ones have all kind of retraced pretty well, right? And on these massive legs up, they leave these huge gaps in the chart, right? And when you come back into them, it's usually not a good time. And a good example of this is right here, right? So BNB is knocking on death's door, so to speak, when we're coming into these levels of support, because if we get below this area, you got the yearly S1 coming in here, which is pretty much, if you want to call this a little like chink in the road, your last level, basically. This has a really big potential to just come all the way back down, all the way to $38. And that would be quite an epic drawdown, right? So that's an 80% move from where we are now. Very doom and gloom on this idea, right? So like not something to just 100% jump into the idea of it. Obviously, you are at support at the moment, but just something to think about, because that would be a pretty gnarly move to the downside if that's the case. Otherwise, kind of zooming in a bit, right? Looking at our developing range here, You basically had that whole move down with the market, right? Hit this quarterly key level, basically wicked it right back up, held the point of control for quite a while. This is the daily time frame, so this has been that whole, I think I left for out of the country here for this entire move when we we're just trading sideways here. But as you can see, started to lose the point of control, right? Came over here, basically came back tested it, and then down we went. Got a monthly level that's holding us up right now, and that's pretty much it. So you really don't want to lose this 210 area right below us. So that's something to really kind of keep mind of, I guess, if you want to mark off the bottom of this range, which, your wick low of like 198. So this like little $12 window here, pretty important for BNB. And, if this is the case, and if this is something that just completely melts, I guess you got this, the yearly S1 is like I said, right behind, like below that. This will be one of those times where something gets blamed on that SEC or, similar to how XRP is like really heavily, depends on how you want to look at it. I know we can go like fundamentals versus technicals, but, especially how Magic presents his XRP chart like that. The move on XRP was very technical. It has remained technical even throughout the time frame, right? Something that's under SEC scrutiny, still managed to rally from like 11 cents to $2. But I just want to kind of bring this one up. It's an interesting coin here, and it was one of the biggest gainers of this run up too, because this is something that was like $4, if I'm not mistaken, $6 at the Rona dump, and ran it up 100x. So give or take, I guess 50x, whatever. That's just be aware of that for any BNB major holders there. Something to pay attention to. For Ethereum, kind of taking a zoomed out look here. And this is the previous, I guess this is actually, it's probably not even, I'm just going to take this off for now. It's really not relevant. And we'll just doctor this up to some degree. So we were looking at Ethereum as we were coming into this area right here, this 1650, and previously this was our range low of the current developing range we were, building out, and then entering into this 1650 was actually putting us back into this previous range from last year. So that's where we are right now. We can tell we can rain it down to the point of control. We've got our previous all-time high comes in here, which made a slight pit stop there, but nothing really aside from that. EQ came in, basically lost that, back tested it right away down to the point of control, held that for a little bit until today, and then we closed the daily right below it today actually. So sorry for all the scooting around. So closed our daily candle below the point of control right now, knocking our head on it. Next logical, short-term area would probably be back down to, 940 if we don't get above this point of control. So start living above this point of control, start looking back up. We discussed this in last night's member stream that this is a huge range, and depending on how things go in general with the market, I would have to imagine we're probably going to sit in this region for quite a while. And from bottom to top, say if we get this move in Bitcoin down to that 19.2 and 19.1, you break 20K on Bitcoin, and anybody and everybody is going to be in panic mode. One of the major reasons I think that is going to allude to that is because of Ethereum, right? Ethereum and Bitcoin are, usually acting the same in a sense. And Ethereum just melted right through its previous all-time high and is about 50% below that now, right? So I think that alone just makes everybody really true and blue at this point, be like, realize that anything can happen, yada, yada, yada. And if you start breaking that 20K, I think everybody's going to immediately be like 15's on deck. It just is what it is. But realistically, if we turn around and get that kind of how Magic was talking about earlier tonight, if we get that drawdown to 19 area, kind of stop everybody out, turn it back around, get a little relief rally for a couple days or weeks, whatever it may be. That little drawdown out of Bitcoin would probably be enough to pull us down to the range low, about 15%. Sounds about right. It would break our $1,000 that psychological level everybody looks for and looks to. Once again, you just break $1,000 on ETH, I can imagine everybody's just going to assume it's going to go way lower. And it might, you can always just break right through here, but we'll be paying attention for this region as it comes, if it comes. So that's one area for me. I'm looking forward to the downside if it gets there. Otherwise, flip this point of control. And then what I was saying is that this is a really, even from point of control to range high, if we start bouncing back and forth for quite a bit, these are 50% swings. And then if you rotate this range as a whole, that's a 75% range, give or take. So definitely going to be an opportunity or two along the way. Yeah, T-Bone was. Man, T-Bone's going to make us group do-rags, and we're going to start handing those out as gifts for tweets. And
those were legit. I like it.
Man, he sent me that in a message like a week or two ago, and I was all about it, man. And it was that night you had I don't even know how the do-rag thing got brought up, but
it's because I had a backwards hat on, and the lighting in my
that's what
I have vaulted ceilings in this room, and I intentionally don't have a light above. So the lighting for what I have is I live in dark mode all the time. It looked like I had a do-rag on because my hat was black and it was backwards. I could go get a white hat if that makes people feel better. I just figured tonight I would rock the 90s vintage Hawaiian shirt and no cap, no skull cap this time.
Man, you looked like you were from Miami Vice, and I was about it, So it was. I guess you're still wearing the shirt, so you still look the same way. Looked fresh, man. I was waiting for Mark to come on there and compliment your biceps. They were made my voice squeak. They were so big.
Oh fuck! I've been putting in the work, man. I got to lose weight though. Got to lose weight to get into these Hawaiian shirts.
Oh god.
Yeah. Well, I have more. Believe it or not, I've got like 5 other ones to wear. So maybe every Thursday, you guys will get a new Hawaiian shirt. But yeah, I mean, price wise, this previous day point of control is a big target. If it gets above that, the previous day EQ and previous day value area high for me are what I'm looking at. I'm just doing a little bit of extra charting now that I've had a moment to sit down, look at some of the regressions, things like that. Yeah. It's just some very obvious trades that I wasn't available to take, I guess. It is what it is. So now I get to wait. You get to hear me talk about it. But yeah, altcoins, man. That's a bold place to be right now. I don't know. I'm looking at that ADA chart alone, and like look at the cliff that you're on, dude.
I know. It's everywhere.
It is literally just living on the edge.
The edge of glory, right there. God. But yeah, and that's and man, if Bitcoin pull, which relief rally, whatever, bounce, however you want to look at it. I mean, we've just been going completely down. So I mean, when things hit a turnaround here at some point, even for the short term, all these altcoins, man, they have so much. Granted, they all just got hit so hard, even just this week. I mean, everything pulled back like 40-50%, but there's some big ranges in play now for almost everything. Cardano is actually not one of the bigger ones. And maybe I'm lying; it just looks small. I mean, from low to high, looking at like 90, but which is really good. And similar to kind of BNB in the sense of just this range it's in right now. Obviously we get above this point of control. We got our monthly key level where you can see has been holding us down pretty well. And then you got the rotation to the range high. But say Bitcoin pulls it down to that 19, right? That what would that be? I'm thinking about would that be about the same, about 10-15%? I would imagine that would drag everything down to the range low one last time here. And if we turned around there for Bitcoin, so that sounds about right, I guess. I mean, that's just kind of spitballing, but looking back to this 39-cent area and then running the whole range, is an option. Obviously, need the whole market to kind of come through for us, but losing that range low would not be great. Might come in and actually take out this wick and pull one of the old, swingers right there, right? Come in with the goldfish tail. But either way, something to be looking for there right now. We're under the point of control, so not the best place to be. But the yearly key level, it's the one it's all about. All the way back up here at $1.50. A girl can dream. Solana is a really good example of something when you're looking at, not Solana. I guess it is, but there's another one. I can't remember what it was, but maybe it's VeChain. There's another coin exactly like BNB. I suppose this was it. Maybe this was at the time when we were looking at it. It might have been all the way up here, and we were looking to come back and basically $40. Yeah, so this was it. Okay, it was just when we were back here in February time. But Solana, kind of, similar deal, right? Kind of coming back, filling out. Basically just had a little ledge of its own, coming back to this region of the chart right here, zooming in a little bit to the current range that we're in. Below the point of control at the range low though, right? In that range low area. So, the altcoins are not the best leverage trades right now. And I say that in the sense of like, when you look at like Bitcoin and you look at Ethereum, they don't tend to, they do and they don't, but you're not going to get like 15% swings all the time. And I know that sounds obviously idiotic right now because we are getting exactly that almost every day. But generally those, for leverage trades are a little bit more reasonable, I guess. With altcoins, you really just don't even need it. You can obviously 2x or 3x, and if you're going to go in that region, obviously you want to be a profitable trader and have a strategy in place, but you really don't need it. And then the reason being is, just for this move alone, from where we are now, not in the middle, this is where you don't really want to be diddling, but you got a 30% opportunity if it runs it up to the point of control. Problem is, right, if you're on leverage, just from where we are back down to the range low, which is likely to get hit, that's a 13% drop. So if you're on any kind of leverage, you're getting stopped out on the way down, right? And possibly liquidated if you just YOLO it on 10x. So from here, though, for Solana, you got this weekly in the range low. Another week, this whole area is obviously stacked up with support for the time being. Losing that, and it's a pretty nasty fall to this area. This would probably include the market as a whole taking another leg down. So I mean that's a pretty decent drop. 50%, yeah. So but that is one of the next major areas basically coming up. I guess you could argue that this is a daily time frame, so you got one little daily move up here that might hold you. But aside from that, really want to hold on to these regions right here. Get back above the point of control. You got time to rotate this to the high, right? And just from that point of control, without any leverage, you can still put stop losses in place, or just not lose sleep at night over getting stopped out every 5 seconds and your money. But that's an 85% move, right? If you have that. Maybe you don't take it all the way back up to the range high, and even if you just come up to this high volume node in these two daily areas, obviously this previous high right here, this region, really, really good opportunities if they're given. And like I said, right now you are at and near support, so can't get super bearish right until you start breaking through these. And waves. I liked waves the other day. I honestly don't know much about the project as a whole, so take that for what it's worth. But as far as the chart goes, we rode this one up actually really, really well out of this range back in March, into March. And, this was like, $8? And this whole little region here, you basically rotated the range 2 or 3 times, broke out right here, back tested it, ran it up. And then a slew of key levels was basically what we ran into on the way up. Boom, 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 boom. And then from here, there's just straight fib extensions. 1618 comes in, $63, right, back in March, literally the last day of the quarter. And then from there, we, had the plunge. And gave it all back right away, pretty much. Right now, though, we came in, had some bullish divergence the other day. That's what I was putting up on that. But we are at the range low, right, for the developing area we're in right now. You got the point of control. Thing with waves is that same deal as like Zilliqa and some of these other ones. That Zilliqa was a really good one, actually, a really good example of how when you just shoot up real fast, you come down real fast. But Waves has got a really big opportunity. But as far as messing around with leverage, it moves hard, right? Like 6-7%, like it's nothing. So it's not really the easiest if that's something you feel the need to get into. But from where we are right now, right, just to rotate to that point of control is 100%. I'm sorry, to the golden pocket is 100%. Point of control is 116. Range high is 200%. Not saying that we'd get there overnight, but this is the daily chart, right? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This was 6 days, just 2 weeks ago, right? 180% move. So very, very possible. And this is only really just pushing this basically back into where we were pretty much back in March, right? And even if we just rotate this range for the next couple of months, this could be a really big one to kind of watch out for. So either way, I'll be watching out for it and putting updates in the group for anybody that's interested. And obviously not saying don't put any leverage into it, but just, know what you're getting into with those beasts. All right. Magic, your comment to Twin.
Yeah, no, I just like it dark inside. I don't know what it is. Everything is dark mode on my phone, computer. So light wise, I usually keep it pretty low.
You look like the dark mode of Gareth Soloway with that screen in the background.
So that's actually a second computer running, just so you guys know. It's not the same one. The reason it runs is I run ATAS through that one and then XO through another, and I trade 2 accounts. That's basically how it's done. I've got an office that's behind the wall that this is backed up to, that I want to move this L-shaped desk that I'm on plus a standing desk. I did go ahead and buy a walking treadmill to put underneath there. So I would just like to have the setup there so that way if I want to trade multiple accounts, be logged into multiple things, I can be. Yeah, it'll make it easy. So right now I'm a little crowded, but that's actually the smaller of the screens. That's a 32-inch curved Samsung, but it's not an ultra wide or anything. It's just a regular screen. The ultra wide's like right in front of me. That's the one I do most of my work on. But setup wise, this is not an ideal setup, guys. Like, you don't want shit like this. So right now I'm like,
you don't want the non-ultra wide peasants.
I'm like crammed into a tuna can right now. Normally this setup is upstairs in my room. I've decided that I need to move an office out of my room because having an office inside of my bedroom and one downstairs, it doesn't allow for the best sleep patterns. Let's put it that way. And that's very important. So I will say that if you guys are trading or traders or want to be traders, I posted it on Twitter recently, because I like to run and stuff. And it's one of those things where make sure that you are dedicating time where you're just not trading or on the charts. You can't be in the market 24/7. That's not a thing. So as much as we want to pretend that we're all going to wake up for every alert and we never need sleep and we run on Monster Energy drink or whatever it is, it's just not good for you long term. It's not good for your mental health either. So it is what it is. But yeah, this is kind of a process where soon you guys will see me in a little bit different light. The room is painted orange affectionately for Bitcoin. So it will be a little bit brighter than what you're seeing now. So when we go live, it'll be, I wouldn't say more like CVOs, but closer to that type of lighting, things like that. So you guys won't have to look at me in my little bat cave here.
Dude, we love it, man. Everybody gets to see, the dark silhouette. I got the plant in my background, and it's you got.
This room has a lot of natural light. That's why I like it. This room does have bay windows. It's just when the sun goes down, it's this is what you're left with. So the light above me has been removed because it's just too bright for me, and it's a vaulted ceiling. So the only lights that are actually available are off of the sides of the room. But I will fix that. She goes, the shirt glows it a bit.
Natalie's pulling out your shirt, mate. I was doing that before stream.
Do you like the shirt? I mean, I wore the shirt intentionally because I knew people would probably get a kick out of it. It is. I am
Dude, it was the matching throw blanket on the couch for me.
Yeah.
I can still see it behind you.
For anyone that doesn't know, that's not in the group, I do like 90s retro gear, and this is a 90s shirt, so I had to go online and buy it. I seek out retro stuff. Like my ideal wardrobe is White Man Can't Jump. I always tell people that if you've ever seen the movie with Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes, that's how I dress in real life. So it's a fun shirt, you know. It is what it is. I've got several of them. You guys can enjoy all of them in the near future. Maybe we'll get some. We'll just make leading crypto. They'll all be Hawaiian. They'll all be, you know, exotic. It'll be fun. Paul, you'd look good in this shirt. Maybe a different size, but you look good in this shirt.
Yeah, don't take that, Paul.
Well, I don't know how Paul. People don't realize like I'm 5'5". Like.
I'll take the button up one. Like
people don't realize Magic's on a booster seat.
Yeah, man. I didn't put enough almond milk in my coffee growing up, dude.
Oh my God, Max!
Back to the almond milk,
Max. I hope that there's enough almond milk in Dubai, brother. You stay.
I don't think there is, man. We all know what's going on overseas.
Plenty of vegans over there. They just keep them stocked up on almond milk.
Yeah, that's all that I hear. That's all that there is to date in Dubai is the vegans.
Pretty much.
So if I ever need a tofu recipe, you're the guy, right?
No, I don't do that shit. I'm not vegan.
All right. Well, I mean, it's not bad if you are. I mean, you can tell us. I mean, you would because you're vegan, but
we don't judge if you are.
Yeah, we don't judge. Everyone do what you want. Well, it looks like it's giving up the WAP here. Are we gonna head down or what?
Looks like it.
I haven't heard a single Max Telegram trading view alert.
This is usually it goes off when it hits the VWAP. I imagine it's muted though. Yeah, it looks like muted. That daily open back test is definitely coming more than likely. It seems like at this point.
The volume's dropped off completely. I'm looking at this at the 1 minute chart. You know, granted into the VWAP we had quite a bit of volume, but
I jumped off a cliff at the VWAP.
When we've been tinkering around it, there's not volume's just dropped off. We had like 67K in a candle a minute ago. We've had the two of them actually, which is awfully low. So unless buys, there's some longs that are underwater now because what I can do is I can get my screen up.
Yeah, not great here.
Shik's getting called out. If we look here, so this is where the longs entered. I'm on the 1 minute chart here, so that
was where I entered, man.
If we look here, this is where a load of longs entered. You had shorts enter here, which were arguably squeezed out. Arguably squeezed out pretty much instantly. But you've got longs that have entered here, longs that have entered at the top. This is why order flow is so key because you can see coming into the previous point of control and also the gold pocket that we had here, and you can see people that are just clearly not with trading, taking longs up here. That's nearly $4 million worth of longs opened right into resistance. Like,
no,
come on. And then instantly put underwater. So if you were in a long, I know Micah was in a long from the group. He'd taken profits here. Great. And if you're watching the order flow, you can see now there's trapped people in longs. What do you do when you have trapped people in longs? Well, they tend to go and get squeezed. Arguably, this could be them squeezed here. But these guys that bought down here, where are they going to put their stop losses? Perhaps some put there, but in this candle here, we actually didn't see much of an open interest drop, and the volume was pretty dead on that. So, arguably, I'd imagine they put it below the day open. So, I imagine that is on the cards for sure. But it's the looking at the order flow of how you can spot trapped traders here. This is where the more have entered here. Where do I presume their stop losses to be? And that's what the market maker seeks out. This is how the market maker looks at the charts. And this is how you can day trade, It's the source.
I'll be upfront with you. People that aren't trading right now, I've done the bear market a couple times over now. Safe to say that we've reached those levels. And if you're not trading and you're just holding, it's a painful process. Like, you really have to hold. I did hold through one of them on some assets, and it was awful.
So is this a bear market?
Oh, yeah. as soon as we came back down to, once we came in, that's a good question. Coming back down to the lows in the fashion that we did, getting rejected at 47,707 the way we did, and then really getting that sell off. I mean, like, it was very, very aggressive. As soon as you lost that, what is it, 38K-ish, give or take, that was pretty bad. So you call it what it is. It's just one of those things where if you're not trading these things level to level and making some money, like I've said, if you're holding and you don't know how to, what we call, hedge, whatever you want to call it, that's a really good question. So, like, for people that are holding a lot of assets in there, or maybe it's not a lot, maybe it's $10,000, $5,000, $3,000, whatever it is, you can hedge against that with a small portion of your portfolio by spotting and trading accordingly. That way, as the market moves down, you're not just getting massacred. The trend is down, Sheik. It's been down for a while. Shorts have been in play. It's just a matter of, timeliness. Like, longs were in play for a little bit, though, between January and up to the end of February into March a little bit. You were looking for longs because you were still looking for that infamous target at 47,707. So, you were playing the probabilities of that target being hit based on range rotations, yearly key levels that have been tapped at a percentage basis. Like, you had a lot to say that you were still going up for that. But once we got there and you get rejected, I mean, what have we been talking about ever since? What were we talking about at 39.5? We were looking for shorts. And that's the swing short that I'm in. I will cover that in a video, obviously, for the public, but you guys have all seen it, how we got into that. It was a very simple Dalton setup into the 39K POC, which was a massive level. So it is one of those things where you have to trade the medium time frame trend and the high time frame. And once you've identified both of those, you can really do some damage in this without over trading. The word hedge gets thrown around way too much on crypto Twitter, gets thrown around on YouTube a lot, not as much on TikTok, but all it's meant to do is, like, let's say you had $1,000 and you were going to hedge against your position. You would need, if you were using 5x leverage, you would need to use 20% of that $1,000 or $200, and you need to open a short position at a opportunity and ride that down. Meaning, like when we took our position, or at least I did, but a lot of people did. I think some people took profits earlier, but the 39.5 short, you hang on to that position, you hang on to a portion of it to continue to make sure that your portfolio isn't getting damaged by further downside. And you only close it once you have a confirmed move higher. Not too many people think that far ahead. They don't play the chess game, with their dollars, and you have to, especially if you're holding a lot, or if you just care about your funds. It is what it is. So,
in answer to the Kardashian, yes, Magic and CVO both do that. So
you can also, we do have a partnership with another exchange called BitGet, and this is one we've done a little bit of homework on. CVO's mentioned to me a while ago. It's a pretty good exchange, and they actually have better liquidity in the USDT pair from what I'm hearing from people. So
on Bybit, yeah,
on BitGet, BitGet as well. And BitGet, if you're in the US, will be one that I begin to take a look at and see if it's going to be something that is good for us. So if you're curious about that, CVO does have a link. I'm sure I'll post it in the general chat. But BitGet is an exchange that will not require a VPN. It does not require KYC, which I'm huge on, not requiring that type of information, because I don't think the government has any business knowing about your cryptocurrency personally. Will that change in the future? Potentially, but you can offload that crypto to a private wallet if you want to. You can trade, do whatever you need to. So they do offer the same type of incentives as Bybit in terms of fee reductions and bonuses, all that jazz. We don't hear us pushing a lot of that because most people shouldn't be leverage trading right out the gate, but it doesn't mean you can't go on there, create a dummy account, or, you know, even upload a little bit of capital, like $100, and like tinker around and see if you can be profitable. You know, just make sure that you're protecting that capital. But it's also a good place if you're looking to, you know, put, let's say 10% of your portfolio and find a hedge. You could do something like that as well. So BitGet is something that we've talked about, and I think we'll talk about here in the near future, kind of running it down in the group. That way people can get on that exchange if they want to and not have to worry about a VPN with Bybit. I think that's a really big deal because a lot of people feel like, and I've seen it happen where people do get caught on Bybit with a VPN in the US. I had a friend that did it, $60,000 account. He got all of those dollars back, just so you guys know. But they did tell him he only had 72 hours to get it off the exchange. They were going to lock his account. So he did get an extension on that because he didn't check his email because he's a great guy, but he's lazy. Didn't get it done in time, and they gave him an extension. He still got his money off the exchange, and they gave him like a week extension because they're not trying to keep your money. They're just trying to abide by the, I think it's the CFTC rules. Like they're not out to get you. The exchange isn't out to get you guys. They want you on there, but at the same time, you have to understand if they don't play by the rules, they run the risk of problems. So that's why they do what they do. But BitGet kind of bypasses that whole bit. And from what I understand, a lot of people are very, very high on this exchange. Some notable accounts even. So I'm very excited to check them out a little bit more and maybe even do some USDT trading on there because when you're going down, settling back into Bitcoin, which has been my MO for a long time, is not always the best when you could settle back into USDT and not have to worry about drawdown. So not to rant, but yeah, BitGet would be one that we'll be looking at here in the near future, and it should benefit you guys in both fee reduction and a bonus. So I think CVO's on that as far as I think we've already talked about it.
Yeah, I like BitGet, man. I've been playing around with it for a little bit, but just to kind of came out of nowhere. But it's been around for a couple of years. Just like they got their Series B, I think, or whatever. So
yeah, KuCoin is. I don't do a lot on KuCoin. I had a friend that lost over 100K on there, and it took them 6 months to refund him, and he only got most of it back. I'm going to say most of it, like a majority of it. So. I'm not a KuCoin advocate, if you want to know the truth. And I don't care if they're not on XO because I'm not saying I hope the exchange goes under. I just don't. I'll never trade on that exchange. Just like I'm probably never going to trade on Binance. I just don't trust them. And that's a big thing for me where I put my money. So in terms of using XO charts, I would highly recommend, at least for now, that you get very comfortable with the Bybit chart. Those levels and the order flow that comes in on Bybit is very good. And it is very much so applicable to the charts. So it is one of those things where.
So sorry to interrupt you if you continue to talk there.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Going off so similar to how we did our live trading yesterday. Again, I don't know if we already mentioned, we went for 3 hours. It was a great little stream. I'm going to do that a couple of times a week. Similar to that right now, because we've currently come into the golden pocket, we're not really getting a mad reaction out of it. Now, I'm looking at this on the 1 minute here, and you can see as we came into it, again, similar to how you had up here when we came into the golden pocket, you had a load of, up here we just discussed, you had a load of longs come in, and they were immediately put underwater, like you can see here. The longs come in at the top. Within 5 minutes, they were underwater. Here, we've had some shorts enter. Not as large an amount as the longs entered up at the top. That is 4, 10, just under 11 million. And then here, we've had about 2. So only 2 million shorts or so enter at this point here. But we're in the golden pocket. So why have they entered short here? Well, clearly shite traders. But, what could happen, And the reason that you've not taken the trade from the golden pocket, I'm putting the golden pocket from this low to the top. The reason you wouldn't take that trade initially right now is because we haven't had the order flow that you want. Yes, you've had the shorts come in, but we've not put them underwater yet. Not really put any pressure on them underwater. Where would we be putting pressure on them? Well, if we got back up with the VWAP. So, it's actually drawn in more shorts there. So, that's what market makers do. They push price lower to draw in more people into positions, because as soon as the price comes down, shorts enter, price stalls out a bit, price drops again. What happens? Shorts enter, look at them right at the bottom there, all trapped in their position right now, and they're all underwater. They've entered short and immediately been put under pressure. Now, if we were to claim the VWAP, that's where I'd think, okay, though it's a claim of the VWAP, that's where I'm thinking this is the bounce that we want from, this golden pocket. Because if you're going to take the long from here, what's that, a $90 move? Granted, you can make money on it, but, it's a bit of a tight one. But if you were to claim it, you can say, okay, but that's the bounce I want from the golden pocket here. But you've cleared the first initial sign of resistance. Arguably, you could put your stop loss just below the low that's set in here, and then you take profits. Well, you've just put in a higher low effectively on the lower term timeframes. So arguably, you'd want to take that high. Probably you take profit. Probably be the pivot. To be honest with you. I get this up, I think it's there. Yeah, take profit, probably the pivot if we were to claim the VWAP from here with the shorts that we've got trapped. But yeah, but if we don't claim the VWAP, you're not going to take a long here, and you're not going to lose money. So this is how order flow is so key in identifying, whether a trade setup that you have, because everyone knows the basic trade setups, Fibonacci. Well, not everyone. Most people know the basic trading setups, but it's only using order flow that you can say, okay, this is a trading setup that I want now. Now, are we getting the volume come in to take us away? No, the volume's still dead. But again, once you claim the VWAP, you can then see the shorts that we've got trapped, and you've cleared the resistance, and you have effectively had a bounce from the golden pocket. So this is how you use order flow to get that. And again, we're going to do it twice a week now, or maybe even 3 times, because I think, Magic, you said you're going to do a daily open sometimes, which is good for you.
Yeah, I can do a daily open. It's good for a lot of the people in the U.S. just because, they get off work, and that's when they're actually free, is sometime around 7 o'clock. So
yeah, we're going to do 2 or 3 of them a week now, where we're just going to go through, watching the order flow and seeing if there's a trade set up. And I'm, for the New York Open, I'm happy to linger on the charts for a considerable amount of time to, see it, be patient with it, and we'll just talk shit, to be fair. And it was a good bit of fun yesterday. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was good. No, it is fun to sit through and not only talk everything through, but, chat a little bit of shit, because we don't do enough of, I wouldn't say we don't do enough of it, but, you guys, it is nice to know that there are people behind the screens, and you guys can get together, ask questions a little bit more in depth or personally. So, plus, you guys get to see us take some trades, which is always good, because I think that's been the most requested thing, is to see trades get taken a little bit. And there is a fine line we have to walk with that, just based on some of the laws that are out there. But, these are always going to be non-financial advice, paper trading accounts. So keep that in mind. But if you guys want to see how we look at the markets and how we do things, because this is pretty much how I pay my bills, you're more than welcome to tune in.
Trading account.
Yeah, they're all paper trading.
That's how you pay them bills. That paper trading.
Yeah, it's a paper trading account.
That's how he buys the do-rags, man. It's the man behind the do-rag.
Yeah, it is one of those things. Well, and the Bybit, World Series of Trading is coming up. So for me, that's part of the reason why I'm getting my setup as more concise, because I'll want to trade sometimes 3 to 5 times a day, to be upfront with you guys. Not saying you guys should be doing that. There's 2 schools of thought on that. If you trade more regularly, you'll learn faster. And I do think that's actually valuable. The problem is nobody uses risk management as the issue. If you use risk management, it's not an issue, actually. You can learn quite a bit quite quickly. and then the other one is time. Not everybody has time to sit here and find trades like that. So we try to blend those two worlds, because you have to be able to do swing trades and day trades. And for me, I do plan to be quite active in the next, from June 27th on, because of that, because you want to have a good showing. And if you guys are going to tune in and watch, maybe it helps you guys out a little bit too. You'll learn something. So that's where I'm at on it. I think Max is probably in the same position,
So Money UK on our Magic's pretty much given some levels already. So on our stream that we had yesterday, this chart's going to be disgusting, so I'm sorry. We found, so Magic's got levels here, which is the Q4 naked point of control. So Q4 naked point of control here. We also have a December naked point of control here, and then even a tad below it, you have a weekly naked pivot and a weekly naked point of control, just $500 or so below, which could be like a swing fail of this region, because I don't know how many people are looking at this. I've not really followed any other content creators currently. I've not seen anyone else call this area out. We've got these areas here.
Actually, Gareth, of all people, Mr. Soloway, called it out in the live stream before I could talk, and I was like, what does he know? But it was a good call on him, because he was talking about 19.5 region. I just said 19.228 for us.
Yes, the Kardashian, it's an indicator. It's called PVA candles. It's this one at the bottom here. It just shows candles that are of importance. So these solid green ones are 200% volume. And the solid red ones are 200% volume. Obviously, red is down, green is up. The purple ones here is 150% volume down, and 150% up is the blue. And they're in key areas. They're just really good. It's on our list to get a video out of how to trade them. But we have statistics in the group on them, which, I'm not going to give out here, but, we have statistics on their close rate. It's very high. They're extremely good to trade. And, for the people that are using them in the group, well, everyone that uses them loves them. And they're really good. So, you'd have to join the group to find that, actually. So I'm not going to share too much. But how low can it go? Well, there's the support there. If it breaks that, Money UK, you have to go, okay, you have to trade it level to level. When it comes to there, that's when we'll think about where the next level is. There's no point going.
I do think the next level below is
12K.
Yeah, I think you have to look at it as a zone. I do think 19.228 and 18.246, that little $1,000 box. That's, to me, is like, if you're going to get a quick wick that gets people super bearish and traps some shorts, because you think about what happens when you break 20K. Everybody's going to be looking for 12K. If we're going to get the scenario of a swing failure pattern, I think that's the case. And man, I want that situation so bad, because it's such an easy trade. If given,
well, we want that quick wick, don't we? We don't want it to be slowly grinding through.
No, we don't. It's been very, very methodical. Not methodical, but it's been very much so. Like, there just hasn't been any real resistance from buyers on the way down, in the sense, outside of like 25K, of course, but very easy spot to identify in terms of demand. We covered that in advance. It's just one of those things where the lack of interest on the back test of that range was very concerning. At 32 and some change, coming back down to these levels, I want to believe that we'll find those people. I think that's where people will get emotional. You break the previous all-time high, you wick below it, people open up shorts or start selling, panic selling, stops are triggered. That's the area where, if you're watching the order flow, you can really capitalize. And it's a really great area, because if order flow says not to buy and just let it roll, you don't put your capital at risk. If it does, though, and gives you the indication, that 19K swing failure pattern could easily turn into a 20%, 30% bounce over time. And people would get bullish again, all the way back up to, like I said, 29.8K. You could bounce fairly high here and really do fucking nothing. So it is one of those things where I'm being pretty patient. I don't want to be in a position necessarily for that scenario. I'm willing to sit it out and wait for a very, very nice setup if given. And if the setup isn't given, I'm not going to get every move. But at the same time, I'm not losing any money. And in a straight down market that we're in, not losing money is as good as gold, especially in crypto right now, which is getting crushed. So capital preservation is the name of the game. And making money when it's easy is, what you have to do. You have to look at those opportunities and say, if I get them, I'm going to take advantage. If I don't get them, I'm just not going to trade because there's nothing good that's going to come of it. Everybody wants to call the bottom and be that guy on social media. And in reality, there's no real trader in the world that gives a shit about that. It's kind of what makes this channel unique. We don't really care. We say the most prolific and non-prolific things. No one has called this in terms of time and levels to the downside as accurately within sometimes $100 and then just not cared about it because you still have to make the trade, like the 25, I think I said 25.1 on the 13th of May and we hit 25.222. It doesn't matter if you make that call and you can't trade it because that was a really quick wick. And if you didn't catch the imbalances off of the zone, you just didn't get in. It doesn't matter at that point. Like, who cares that you made that call because you didn't make any money on it? You didn't do anything, So I don't know. I don't get into the influencer thing too much. But at the same time, those are the points that people should be taking away from this is, this is a trading channel. This isn't to hear us tell you that Bitcoin's going to $100,000 in 3 years or 5 years or 500K or whatever, people want to hear, or it's going to 8K. None of that matters. What matters is, are you profitable? Have you protected your capital? And what are you doing day to day? So sorry, not to rant. It's just
Sheik. What are you saying there? I have about 3 months of trading data and I'm averaging about $50 a day for my trading wallet. Should I wait a bit more or time before changing anything? What are you on about changing? And is that $50 a day from trading profits?
If it's trading profits, $50 a day. I don't know what our account size is, but if you're making money every day,
that's great.
Yeah,
And
you're
don't
doing
change anything.
considering that when we, back in what was it, like December when we got together, no one was trading. You weren't trading at all. If you're making $50 a day 6 months in, I'm not saying don't change anything. Like, that's pretty good. There's a lot of people that don't make money for years. There's people that won't make money for years consistently. So you really should look at that and continue to do what you're doing. And if you're going to supplement anything, don't change what you're doing. Change it maybe on a paper trading account and see if it's actually going to benefit you. And if it does, add it into what you're doing.
Because using exo charts, it stops you making money for a considerable amount of time. It really gives you so many signals that you perhaps get wrong. I remember when I first learned exo, I didn't really have a how-to guide. I mean, the how-to guide that we've got is pretty simple, and it will get you set up way faster than what I had. But it's if you were to use it and it wasn't, and you were to not fully understand it, it will affect your trading negatively. It took me 3 months before I really was able to get my head around, taking a long or short using exo, because, it's seeing the trap traders and, now we've claimed the VWAP somewhat on the 1 minute time frame. There's trap traders down here now. So this is perhaps a long that I would take and target the pivot. I probably want more volume coming in, but, sometimes you have to take it. But yeah, if you're making money, there's no point adding something in that could confuse you. But if you wanted to have it on the side and take the normal trades that you would do, and then look at the exo and think, okay, you could look at the exo charts on trades that you've perhaps lost on and thought, okay, this is how I could have known on looking at the exo charts not to take that trade. Or this is how I look at the exo charts of the trade that I won and say, okay, this is perhaps why I won. And it's using it behind the scenes rather than trying to instantly use it in your trading that perhaps is probably the better way to go when it comes to, adding exo charts into your arsenal of trading, to be fair. That's how I would go about it. If you're already profitable without exocharts, I would just do it on behind the scenes and look at the trades that you're already taking and go over the past data. Because
That's
doing
actually
that is how you know. Yeah, that's how I would do it if I was already profitable using stuff not exocharts. Yeah, can you explain more about exocharts? It's for order flow and seeing where the money is. Yeah, so basically what we can see here is all the market orders that are coming into the exchange. But yeah, if you want to learn more about it, we have a full course out in the group. Literally with a how-to guide. We have a theory which goes over like what it all is. And then we have a how-to guide on how you can really get started on the beginners side of exocharts.
It's money. If I can say, if you're curious about exocharts, it really is. So order flow in this case, we're not looking for limit orders necessarily. We're looking at market executed, meaning they've already happened. The hard part about this software is it hasn't been out that long. There are people out there with how-to guides on it. The issue is they don't show you how to actually trade off of it and make it actionable. They just show you how to analyze it. And there's a lot of really good analysts out there, and this isn't throwing shots at anyone, but they're probably shit traders. They don't actually trade. So there is a big difference in actually taking this data real time and turning it into dollars, so to speak. But this software will give you an edge because unlike that, where you can go to things like Trading Light, for instance, where it'll show you like bids can be removed. Spoof orders are a thing in crypto because it's unregulated. We can't do that in traditional markets, but you can do it in crypto. So when people say, well, there's a ton of Bitcoin sitting down here, is it worthless information? No, there's a lot of buy orders down there, but that can change in an instant. You know, I used to trade with someone who would put up spoof orders just to fill positions, and not small ones, like hundreds of millions of dollars of spoof orders to make people think there was support or resistance and then fill his opposite opposing bag. You know, that is very much a thing. And people say manipulation. I'm like, there is manipulation. And if you're not playing the game and you're not watching these things, day trading is not a good idea. You should definitely relegate yourself more to swing trading. And even then, if you're not using it on a swing trade, knowing if the level that you've identified, like let's say we do come down to $19,000 at some point, how do you know if it's a good place to buy? You would be guessing, you know, if you didn't have an edge on the market like this, where you could pull up like he has now. Like he's looking at net longs, net shorts, open interest, the delta, the CVD, there's so many moving parts to it, but you can simplify it with templates and you can simplify it with information that comes to you. And from there, you can make good decisions. You don't even have to be exact. In fact, this software won't make you exact. It'll actually show you when strength enters the move. And from there, you'll say, okay, based on what I've seen in the order flow, if these positions are put underwater or if these positions are lost where they came in to defend a level or, whatever it may be, short or long, that it's invalid and it will go lower if those positions are lost, because those people are no longer defending them. So like generally you'll see those with imbalances, things like that. But ExoCharts really is, even though it's market executed and a lot of people say you have to look at future data, you can make the argument that it's the opposite of that. People looking at future data in an unregulated market are really opening themselves up to getting, I wouldn't say fucked all the time, but you kind of are, like you're always going to be guessing if that's real data. You don't know if it's valid. So that's the beauty of a software like this, where it does tell you, you can follow the market maker, so to speak. That's the best way to put it, is you can actually see their footprints and you can see what they're doing and you can follow the strength rather than trying to catch falling knives or catch the top of a move for no reason. It will give you some sweet tops and bottoms. CVO had a great one. I'll share my screen. Actually, I'm going to show that off, but CVO pretty much caught the exact top today and traded it very, very well. And I didn't trade the short, but we talked about it on the live stream with Debate Crypto and those. My computer to work here. but this was his position right here. And you can see that his entry on that today on the short was 22,453 and 20,391. You go back to the and you take a look at where today's high really came in at. That's a pretty nice entry coming in and then riding it all the way down on the daily. That's a really, really, really solid trade. Did he catch all of the move? No, but he caught a bulk of it and he made 100% on whatever, risk he had on. And so that's a really big deal to be able to do that, because it does give you the leg up and the confidence to enter. You know where your stop loss goes, which is the biggest thing. If you don't know where your stop loss is going, you have a trade. The only thing you can control on a trade is your stop loss and how much money you can lose on the trade. So capital entered, risk percentage, meaning you're risking X amount of percent of your portfolio. Even if he was only risking 3% of his portfolio, 100% return on that is a solid day trade. And then he did the best possible thing and he took profits. So yeah, the softwares, they do work. They're actionable if you utilize them correctly and if you abide by the statistical rules, meaning that you can't be all in on every trade. Like, that's just not a thing. Harmonics are really interesting. So I'm pretty good at them. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, out of most of the people in this space, like, I'll be a dick and just say that there's maybe one or two people out there that actually could do it better than I can off the cuff. And if there's a couple of them I know that do it pretty regularly, but they're using softwares. Most of the harmonics that I do in advance. There's one other guy out there that did it on this last Gartley that we had, the 47K. I was like 2 days ahead of him. So it was one of those things where you're really squabbling over 2 days. But he had the timing wrong. So he had it on the 10th for completion, and then later backtracked. But I always had it coming in at the end of March based on other fib times. So some of the things I do with harmonics are not in books, and they are not things that you'll find harmonic educators doing. There's things that I do personally, especially with forks and time. But, that all kind of comes to light over time, I guess I should say. Like, the more we know about these things and the more YouTube and internet pumps out content, the more you'll see people, I would say use the word emulate. Try to emulate what they find works with other people. That's how everybody starts. I saw someone doing pattern trading. I started pattern trading, and then I started reading books, and then getting into different types of TA and figuring out what works. And then that's where I've landed myself. But yeah, harmonic trading is, it's interesting. It's a rabbit hole that in the group I tell people not to really go down, because while harmonics are really, really great, yeah, I know Dan, and Dan is an awesome guy. Like, I'm not going to get into a pissing contest about it. That's the guy I was talking about where I was ahead of him by a few days. He's a nice guy. Like, I have nothing bad to say about them. I don't want to get into any kind of like where I'm bad mouthing anyone else, because there's a lot of that going on right now. Have not been in Dan's group, all that stuff. Like, he's a great dude, seems nice, no problems with him. All right, so there's that whole faction's having issues, but in terms of harmonics, it's this weird rabbit hole that's really not what's going to make you money over the long term. Is just trying to trade only harmonics. You'd have to do it on the really high time frames if you wanted to make it viable. And at that point, you'd be more looking at like people like Mitch Ray. He does some stuff like that. He live streams daily, decent content. Is he going to be as technical and more of a day trader? No, he's a swing trader. So keep that in mind. You have to decide what your style is. And he does use a lot of the traditional things like RSI, MACD, and not saying that those are inferior tools, but they do offer up some issue with win rate, in my opinion, where they're not as efficient as other tools. But harmonics, if you go down this rabbit hole of constantly looking for a harmonic, you'll forget to do things like simple support and resistance, how to day trade like a range, identify the range correctly, and then actually trade it. That's where you run into some problems. But otherwise, harmonics are fantastic. Properly identified, they're really, really good. That it is what it is. Yeah, no, yeah, I know you're not Kardashian. It's just one of those things where like I don't like to. My thing is you'll never catch me bad mouthing someone else to put us up, because that's just not a good way to go about business. So what other people do is not something that we're concerned with, because we should only be concerned with what we're doing and the value that we bring to, one, the public, and then two, our members. So I never really put too much weight on other groups, and it's not to be disrespectful to them at all. It's just, I can only control what I control. And I think the other guys feel the same way about that. So yeah, T-Bone is really getting into harmonics right now. Any thoughts on reading for the CMT as an additional educational source to the group? What do you mean by CMT? I guess if anyone can clarify that, I'm not sure. But in terms of harmonics, what's that?
I've never heard of CMT.
I imagine it's just a teacher's pet. T-Bone is, but T-Bone, you know what? The dude puts in the work. He puts up great charts. He makes a lot of winning trades. Like, you can't say anything bad about it. Let him keep working. No one's going to stop him from working hard. So if he wants to keep working, people don't realize how hard trading can be long term. In the sense that, you can make it very easy and simple. And some people have that personality, and some people like to work and want to be the best, so to speak. And, you can tell it's something that he's got. A lot of people they want to be the people that other people look to. Whereas some people just want to make money and go home, it just depends. So I would say he's definitely got that. But, different strokes for different folks. I imagine there's a fair amount of people in the group, just based on the number of charts that are posted, that just keep up, maybe do their own charts and then never post. And that's okay too. They just keep up in the group and use the information, as they go. That's the way to do it, whether it's the updates channel or the charts channels. I go through the daily, weekly, monthly pivots, identify range, pointed controls. Oh yeah, so that's a tough one. You're not off on like a really terrible area. To be upfront with you, where you're getting, Golden Pocket is great. You'll actually find me Charted Market Technician. I actually don't know what that is, Julian. So if you're in the group, put it in the members chat or something, bring it up and like show us what you're talking about. And if you're not, you can put it in the general public chat too. That's fine. Yeah, you're on the right track, Kardashian. What it sounds like to me that you're missing is, one, a little bit of experience probably, and that's not any slight at you or anything. I don't know anything about you, but a lot of times these things do take time to figure out like what price is going to do, get a feel for the market, things like that. But also occasionally you lack a system. Like for us, I rely very, very heavily on the volume profile, and I have a bunch of tools that I use a little bit differently than everyone else, as I use them as mean reversions, and I use them based on time to take variables out of the equation. So everything kind of has a very specific, cutoff when it becomes actionable. It's no longer dynamic. It's no longer changing. This is, this is a really good example right here. If I can get it to work anyway. Like some of these tools, I've created my own settings and own methods. Like this is what you would have traded for yesterday, right? So this is your previous day. Let me pull this up on my chart. Yep, doing it.
But yeah, CVO, I know you just messaged me about that. I just showed you.
This is a little messy because there's other things on here. Let me get rid of the VWAPs. That actually helps quite a bit. And we'll get rid of previous.
It's a tad blurry, mate.
Is it? Yeah, I'm sorry. But this is what you would have been trading the day before, right? So this is how you would have been trading it. Is it perfect? No. But is it getting things to where you need to? Like, is it letting you know what you need to know? If you have all of your levels actually marked out, yes. Low of the regression, low of the, the range. What we're looking for is, can we find a reason to take a long here? And then from there, what you're missing is, you said fake out. Now you're looking for order flow. Like, is there an actual trend change occurring that you can take advantage of? That's the big deal. That's the biggest value of Max in the group is the order flow videos that he's put out there is not just how to do order flow analysis, but how to trade off of it. And there are not many groups out there, to my knowledge, doing that. It's hard to do, and it's hard to put into very concise videos that one can consume in an hour and utilize versus, where other places are going to take workshops of videos. And I say that because there are people out there doing that where they put on the workshops, like Axia, for instance, really great creators, but they put on these workshops that are like 3 hours long, and you don't get that much from them that you could really condense down.
There's like 3 things in like a 3 hour long video. And it's like,
well, not only that, but I mean, fuck, if you want their program, and this is to be upfront. Oh, it's a fortune. But Kardashian, to be upfront with you, if you want to know where CC got their order flow from, you could go to Axia Trading. The problem is, if you want the material that they got, it's a fortune of money to
like
actually
$3,000, I think.
Yeah,
like
it's not a fortune, but I mean, to the average everyday trader, it's that's a lot of money to put in. But it is expensive. So yeah. It is what it is. Sorry, not to get off on the rant. We've been kind of chatting shit for a little bit too long.
It's all good. When we came above the VWAP here, you can see the volume never really picked up. It was strong here going into the area. But when we broke above it, you didn't see any longs really come in. We are on the 1 minute chart here, so it has to be said. Volume kind of dropped off when you came above it. You did come back down and test where this volume was. They tried to push us up again with this heavy volume here. Heavy volume, 500K. It's shit, be honest with you. But then the volume, again, dropped off again as soon as we broke above it. So that's how you can look at the order flow. Though I said, you want to claim it, if you're looking at the volume, it didn't come in. It didn't come in. You didn't have the buyers come in when you broke the resistance. So it's not what you want to see. If we break above it again, you do want to see more volume come in. With the volume dropping off, I mean, granted, it's the Asia session. So it's a very slow session. Well, I say slow, it was quite one direction yesterday. But yeah, when the volume's dropped off, you do want to see volume come in when you break above certain levels. This is why breakout traders get wrecked, because they're not looking at this type of stuff. So they don't know, okay, they just think, break over that level, I'm longing. They're not looking at this and thinking, okay, it's actually weak above there. So yeah, you have to wait and see whether we get some buyers come into the market when you break above the level. But for now, it's just stalling here. So yeah, have to wait and see. I have to go and walk my dog. So I don't know if you guys have anything more to talk about, but my dog's literally sat here licking my feet because he needs to go.
Oh man, always a good dog story out of us.
I don't have anything else either. I was actually just messing with my dog. He's getting a little restless. I didn't give him his evening walk, so.
Oh God,
it is what it is.
My dog's fast asleep.
Dog walk time.
Old ass. All right. Well, great update, gentlemen, and I hope everybody enjoyed. Thanks for all coming out watching live. If anybody's interested in learning more, there is a link in our bio or our description, however it is here on YouTube, to join our Discord server. We do have a free section for everybody to join in on there. We're pretty active in there, and you can ask any questions, tag us anytime. Other than that, we'll see you all in the next one, and until then, everybody, cheers.